A world time watch for £130, minute repeaters for £1,000, tourbillons for £500, and now this. I know this world time has been out for a while, I just needed a great hook for the video. Anyway, this is the functional world time complication with one massive catch. Now, the only reason I bought this affordable watch, despite the risk of it just being a gimmick, is that I am a long-time fan of Mercure as a brand. My first watch from them, and in fact my first AliExpress watch ever, was a Mercure salmon dial jump hour. From looking at the listing to waiting for the delivery, I was sure that when the watch was finally delivered, I would be disappointed and realize that I'd just been tricked or something. But no. For about £150, I was able to purchase a jump hour watch with one of the most stunning dials I'd ever seen at the time, and from then I was hooked. So when I saw the world time a few months ago from Mercure, there was no doubt in my mind that it would at least have some level of functionality, and that's basically what we have here. Now, you guys know I like to be strange and different, so instead of going for the conventional colors, I've chosen this grey colorway, which I am very happy with. See? It matches my hoodie. Obviously, the unboxing experience was basic. The watch came in a padded zipped box with a sponge interior wrapped in plastic. At first glance, I noticed the depth of the dial, but not in a good way. While depth is usually sought after in watches, even for me, the way the dial rises around the edges doesn't really work for me. The images online don't make it look as pronounced as it is in person. But like I said, depth is usually a good thing, so I'm willing to accept that I am in the wrong here for not liking it. Just like the Jump Hour and many other watches from the brand, the watch has a brushed finish with a 38mm case and 50mm of water resistance. We have a 20mm strap width with a 47mm lug to lug and a thickness of 13mm. As much as 13mm would normally be a deal breaker for me in a watch, based on my experience with the Jump Hour, this watch also wears quite well. The movement is listed as an M01D with a steel case and a domed KM mineral glass, whatever that means. There is no lume on this dial. Again, when we consider this price point, Mercure are quite well known for their good quality straps, and this watch is no different. In my 35 plus watch collection so far, this strap is the best. With a quick release feature, it's comfortable, high quality, and most importantly for me, it suits the watch. I would even put this slightly ahead of the regular world time from Mercure, because I feel like the fact that the gray of this strap matches the gray of this world time dial is such a plus. Obviously, from the middle outwards, we have the engraving of the world map in the center with hour markers going around it and some kind of red interval track that doesn't seem to have any relevance to me. Let me know if I'm wrong about that in the comments. We then have the 24-hour markers with the moon at the top and the sun at the bottom, indicating AM and PM. Then finally, the 24 time zones around the edge. Visually, this shouldn't make sense because world times are conventionally blue and green to, show the Earth, but this works. It works. It works for me. The domed crystal does intrude on the view of the outer time zones a little bit, but as I am not an avid traveler, this doesn't really bother me. The hands are very well done. I think Mercure made the right choice in terms of style and in terms of length. As expected for a Mercure watch, they've decided to make some poor branding decisions on the case back, with not only the closed case back, but the obnoxious Mercure branding all over it. However, this does make a lot more sense compared to Mercure's Pierre Paulin, for example. That was a watch that said Paulin on the dial, but Mercure everywhere else. Now to the star of the show, the functional world time complication. After watching a few tutorials, it took me a while to get the hang of it, but I think I understand the principle of setting the world time complication a bit more now. I think part of my confusion is that this world time functions differently to other expensive ones, and when I say differently, I mean worse. First, let's set the hour and minutes. Now we unscrew the second crown and rotate it to the correct hour that we are on right now. So right now it's 11:40 something, so we will drag our time zone London to correspond with the 11 AM right here. I do think it's beneficial that half of this 24-hour ring is grey versus black to clearly show which hours are in daylight versus nighttime. Now that London is at the 11 AM mark, I will consider this set. as I assume that I am well within my right to only use the world time to show the correct hour, and then look at my minute hand to find out the exact minutes of the time. Based on this here, we can see that if it's 11 AM in London, this is the time in Mauritius and Tokyo and Geneva and other time zones, for example. I'm guessing that if I moved this ring to accommodate for the actual minute of time, I could, but the text on the ring is so small. I think trying to see the correct hour to the minute by using this outer ring, inner ring situation of the dial, it would just be too fiddly. So based on how I just set this, I'm reading this as the 11th hour in London, and then 47 minutes roughly by looking at the minute hand. And then as we go around the dial, we know that the time in Tokyo is 8:47 PM, or the time in New York is 6:47 AM, or the time in Geneva is 12:47 PM, and so on. Now for the catch. The Omega world time, for example, would automatically move the outer or inner bezels along with time. However, this does not. Once you set the time according to the time zone, it stays still. So every time you want to see the time across time zones, you will need to wind the bezel and do this whole process again. So this is technically not a true world time complication. However, it gets the job done. It's 100 quid, 150 quid. Similar to spending 30,000 on a Submariner when you know you will never touch a drop of seawater in your life. I think those of us who are spending £100 on a world time are not traveling enough to actually need this feature to function properly anyway. So who cares? Like many of you watching this video, I'm just a chill guy who wants to wear an affordable watch that no one will recognize at face value to be a Casio or Swatch or something generic. I get to be the cool guy at the table that has a mechanical watch that tells me the time in 24 time zones simultaneously, and that is enough for me. Most of us are not in rooms with people that possess or would even recognize a functioning world time watch anyway. So to conclude, this watch is no nonsense, elegant, and professional. 7 out of 10. Please consider subscribing, as I can see most of you that watch these videos are not subscribing, and please consider turning on the notification bell to be notified the next time I drop a video. Have a good day.